Okay, well, thanks for joining us today. I think we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Mari Brown. I'm from Ask Resource Center, and I will be the host for the webinar today, along with my coworker, Alicia. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to share just a bit about Ask Resource Center in case you aren't familiar. Ask is a family-focused nonprofit organization, and our mission is to empower the families of people with disabilities. We provide individualized support, collaborative advocacy, training, resources, and leadership development for Iowa families of children with disabilities or special healthcare needs, ages birth to 26, and the professionals who serve them. We thank you for joining us today for the webinar titled IAble Accounts. The presenter today is Michelle Murphy with the State Treasurer's Office. So Ask Resource Center is very glad to welcome our presenter, Michelle Murphy, today. Michelle serves as on the outreach team for the State Treasurer Roby Smith. Michelle has earned her BS degree in journalism with a minor in multimedia from Northwest Missouri State University in 2000. She has worked for the Treasurer's Office for over 15 years. Michelle's knowledge of programs within the State Treasurer's Office include Iowa's 529 plans, Iowa's Achieving a Better Life Experience plan, and the Great Iowa Treasure Hunt. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. I'm with the State Treasurer's Office, and thanks for joining me today. Alicia Callahan, also from the Treasurer's Office, is joining us, and she'll be assisting me with questions. Today's presentation is on IAble, which stands for Achieve a Better Life Experience. IAble is Iowa's plan and is administered by State Treasurer Roby Smith. And I guess kind of a quick question, you can do it by a show of hands or in the comments. We're just kind of curious how many of you are familiar with IAble or have you even heard of it? Today's agenda, I'm going to highlight the timeline and overview and how we got where we are today and dive deeper into the nuts and bolts of the IAble plan. And then at the end, we'll have some questions to answer for you guys. So gearing up for the, going over the timeline. In 2014, the Federal IAble Act was passed, and this paved the way for states to pass their own legislation and begin offering their own plans. In 2015, Iowa's version of the bill was signed into law. And then in 2017, IAble launched. And you may notice there is a couple of years there, and that is between 2015 and 2017. And that is because we wanted to make sure we did it right. We banded together with other states to form the alliance to offer a low-cost plans. And we knew we really needed that buying power to get a plan that was affordable for Iowans. And having a group of states together allowed us to do that. In 2020, final federal regulations were published, and this provided guidance for states on administrating IAble plans and provided guidance for individuals with disabilities and their support systems. In 2021, Iowa House File 835 was signed into law, and this allowed us to conform to those federal regulations. In 2022, those final regulations were implemented and the IAble Age Adjustment Act was passed. And in a little bit, I'll tell you why we're so excited about the IAble Adjustment Act. So in terms of where we are today, we are thrilled that we have over 2,400 accounts and our total assets is 23 million. The average account size is about 9,495. And one of the things that we really look forward to doing is to get more people to know about IAble and find that it is a tool that they can have in their toolbox and really grow these numbers. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Iowa's IAble plan. What is IAble? This allows individuals and their support systems to save for a disability-related expenses. At the same time, it does earn tax breaks similar to what College Savings Iowa 529 plan. One of the things that was really important both at the federal and at the state level is to treat savings for disability related very similar to how we treat for College Savings Iowa plan. But the most important piece that we really believe and want to make sure that people know and understand is that it protects the eligibility for assistant programs, and the two largest of those programs is Social Security benefits and Medicaid. So let's take a minute and talk about who is eligible. First, the disability must be present before the age of 26. For example, somebody who's 40 years old today, if their disability was present before they turn 26, they would still be eligible even though they are currently over the age of 26. In addition to age, only one of the three additional requirements must be met to open an account. The individual is eligible for SSI or SSDI due to their disability, or two, the individual has a copy of their disability diagnosis from a physician, or three, the disability is listed on the SSA's Compassionate Allowance Conditions Act. Account owners do have to certify annually, but it is never sent to the plan, and recertification is only for their records. Also, ABLE account owners can only have one ABLE account. So the ABLE Age Adjustment Act, this was passed in 2022, as I mentioned earlier, and we are really excited when this law was changed. The state of Iowa, along with every other ABLE program in the country, had advocated hard to get that age moved up from 26 to 46. However, that effective date isn't going to go into effect until January 2026. This Age Adjustment Act will enable an estimated 6 million more Americans, including 1 million veterans, to be eligible for an ABLE account. So a big feature with IAble is that you can maintain your benefits. In the past, if you had more than $2,000 in a savings account, you could lose those benefits. The program is designed to change that. So the first $100,000 saved in an IAble account is disregarded from SSI eligibility. However, funds over $100,000 are treated as a resource. And then housing expenses are not treated as a resource if they are withdrawn in the month they are used. So for example, if your rent is due in February, you can't withdraw those funds in January and then pay rent on February 2nd. You can withdraw in January and pay it like no later than January 31st, or you can wait until February 1st, withdraw it, and then pay it sometime in February. It has to be drawn on the same month, or it is counted as a resource. IAble will report account balances monthly to the Social Security Administration, and Social Security and SSI monthly benefits. If you choose, those payments can be directly deposited into an ABLE account. So some of the other benefits with IAble are the following programs that disregard IAble assets when determining eligibility, regardless of account balances: HUD, FAFSA, SNAP, and Medicaid. Medicaid recapture. This is one of the biggest obstacles on why people will not save in these accounts. For example, grandma didn't want to put money into like Alicia's account. If she passes away, that money is gone. Medicaid will recapture it. This is a huge win that happened in 2021. Under Iowa law, Medicaid cannot capture money in the account following the death of the account owner unless required by federal law. Potential contributors and account owners should consult the plan disclosure statements for important information concerning Medicaid recapture. If you are an Iowa Medicaid member and have questions on how something will impact your specific case, you should contact your income maintenance worker. We can't provide advice regarding Medicaid. So how do you open an account? So since the House File 835 got passed, this has gotten a lot easier. So eligible individuals under the age of 18, a parent or individual with financial authority may open an account on behalf of the eligible individual, and no documentation is required now. Now, if an eligible individual is over the age of 18, we can break that down into two scenarios. If they have the legal capacity, an eligible individual can open their own account if they have the legal capacity to do so. If they choose, they can grant someone authority to act on the account with them or open the account on their behalf. So for example, when I was 18, I was living out of state. I gave my mom authority to be on my financial accounts. So if someone has legal capacity, it is no different than if they grant someone authority to act on their behalf for the account. Now, if they don't have the legal capacity, an authorized individual may open and manage the account on their behalf according to the higher priority, which was established under the 2020 federal regulations that I mentioned earlier. So an authorized individual, they must certify under penalties of perjury that no other person with a higher priority is willing or able to act as an authorized individual, and they will notify IAble if their authority expires or is removed. And the highest priority in this order is power of attorney, and then followed by conservator, spouse, parent, sibling, grandparent, and then representative payee or person or an entity appointed by the Social Security Administration. There is no documentation required unless requested by the plan. The willing and able is really important. For an example, maybe a parent is 80 years old and willing, but just not able to act as an authorized individual. Then someone else can step in according to this higher priority list. So as of November 2022, the disability agencies can serve as an authorized individuals. This is currently only offered through paper enrollment. Organizations and agency reps will be responsible for opening and managing the IAble accounts. And we do want to ensure that there's only one single organizational email address for communication. And the other thing is you want to make sure you stay informed and sign up for our IAble newsletter, and this will give you updates on the plan. So let's take some time and talk about investments. We wanted to make it easy to get in the door. You can open an account with as little as $25, and there are 6 investment options. They are professionally managed investment options, and the options range from aggressive to conservative. We do have more information on our website that can help guide you on whether you're an aggressive or conservative investor, and we have choices for those long to short-term goals. Another great thing is we also have an FDIC insured checking account option through Fifth Third Bank, which includes a debit card. The debit card does include ATM access and can be used on any qualified expenses. You can choose a single option or a blend of up to 7. And so if you want to have a checking account so you have access to the money a little quicker, you can also have one of those investment options in the background as well. So we always want to be upfront on any fees. The fees have already been reduced several times. The account maintenance fee is billed quarterly and it is $14.50. However, it is discounted if you sign up for e-delivery to $8.25. And then investment options have an additional asset-based fees, which range from 30 to 30 basis points. And the checking account option has no monthly charge if you maintain a monthly balance of $250 or more, or you sign up for the paperless statements with the Third Bank. Otherwise, it is a $2 a month fee. And we do encourage delivery, e-delivery for those discounts if they apply to your situation. So let's talk about the fun stuff with contributions, qualified expenses, and more. So how do you get the money into the accounts? The great thing is that it can come from a lot of different resources. The account owner can put money into their own account. You can also roll over funds from a 529 plan. Friends and family or anyone with permission from the account owner can contribute to an ABLE account. And then newer since House File 835 got passed, special needs trust. They can work together to help the account owner save money. So contribution amounts, $18,000 is the most that can be contributed in a calendar year. That does include rollovers from a 529 plan. Again, you can create an account with as little as $25. And I know I'm going to mention that again later on in the presentation. And balances can't exceed $100,000 if you want to maintain your SSI resource limit. However, you can go over that $100,000 if you're not concerned about losing your SSI resource limit. So a great thing that happened recently, and that is the Able to Work Act, which allows you to increase that 18,000 contribution limit if the account owner has earned income. So that account owner, if they're working, they can go up to an additional 14,580. So one of the most popular questions we get all the time is, what can I spend the funds on? So in the definition of a qualified disability expense, are expenses incurred as a result of a disability and are intended to help maintain or improve health, independence, or quality of life. When this bill was passed in Congress at the national level, the state of Iowa followed suit to allow you to use the money on anything that will maintain or improve the health, independence, or quality of life of the person with a disability, which is pretty broad. The idea is there is no way to make a list of everything. So in addition to giving you some highlights, I will give you the standard disclaimer that the Treasurer's Office cannot provide tax or legal advice related to qualified disability expenses. And then here are some examples where the expenses may be applied on: housing and rent, basic living expenses, financial management, education, legal fees, funeral and burial expenses, healthcare, prevention, and wellness. We also do recommend to keep the receipts for your own records in case you get audited. So tax benefits. It's not the most sought after information, but it is still important. There are both federal and Iowa tax benefits. For federal tax benefits, the savings grow federally tax deferred. Qualified withdrawals are federally tax exempt, and you can roll over assets from a 529 plan without penalty. For Iowa taxpayer benefits, the legislators really wanted to make sure they gave that same benefits for savings for disability related expenses that they had for College Savings Iowa. So those are the savings grow to state tax deferred. All withdrawals are state tax exempt. State tax deductions for any Iowa taxpayer contributing to an IAble account. The 2024 Iowa tax deduction is the $4,028, and that is adjusted annually for inflation and is for any Iowa taxpayer contributing to an IAble account. So anyone can add more into an account. This is just an example of the max you can deduct. So all of that added together is 18,000. A single person can't take more than that 4,028 for a tax deduction. So for example, a friend contributed 1,500, their tax deduction is 1,500. Grandmother, she contributed 3,500, so her tax deduction would be the 3,500. And then mom, she contributed 10,000. Her tax deduction would be the 4,028. And then remember, if the account owner is working due to able to work, they can put more money into the account. All right, so I'm going to review real quick our plan highlights. We want to make sure you took away from this is that you can save above the income limits for SSI and Medicaid. You can involve family and friends in saving goals. You can choose to invest your money using a checking account through the third bank, or having a combination of investments and the checking account. No documentation is required to open an account. Any Iowa taxpayer can take a state tax deduction for their contributions, and you can open an account with as little as $25. So in terms of getting started, the first thing we encourage to do is to review the plan disclosure booklet. Research investment options at IAble.gov, and then gather the account owner's information. You'll need name, birth date, address, the disability type, and the social security number. And then if it applies, gather the authorized individual's information as well. And then you just hop over to the website, IAble.gov, and click enroll. If at any point during the enrollment, you need to pause and get more information or do more research, you can save your enrollment and go back to it later. And then now we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. And then here's our contact information if you have any follow-up questions.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I do think we've had a few questions in the chat. This is Alicia Carwell from Ask Resource Center. And Alicia, from your organization, has been helping as well to address some of those specifics in the chat. So I'm going to make sure she's able to speak also. I think the first question you may have already addressed. One of the questions was about having a 529 or a college savings plan account in addition to an IAble account. Do you have anything more to say on that?
Alicia, I'll let you go ahead and answer that question.
And let me give her permissions to do that. Okay, Alicia, you should be able to speak now.
All right, can you hear me, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so yep, you can have a 529 account and an ABLE account at the same time. There are no restrictions. While you can only have one ABLE account, you can have as many 529 accounts for that beneficiary. And then, as Michelle mentioned, you can roll over those funds from the 529 to the ABLE plan if maybe perhaps those plans change in the future.
Okay, thank you. Someone shared that they tried to open an account a few weeks ago and the online enrollment option was not working. Is that working again? Is that something either Michelle or Alicia can address?
I can take that, Michelle.
Sure.
So currently our online enrollment for entities is not available, but you can do that via paper, but all the other enrollment options should be working. And we are just improving the system, which is why it's down right now for the entity enrollment, but every other type of enrollment should be available online now.
All right, and then we have a question about, is there an IAble brochure available and where can that be found?
The IAble brochure is available online, and we also have some in our office. We will be more than happy if you contact us. We can send some out to an entity and organization.
And I'll throw a link to the brochure in the chat as well.
Perfect, and then we can also send that out with the recording.
We did have a question. Can someone walk me through making a withdrawal via the account electronically?
Yeah, I did respond to that one in the chat. The best way to do that, because we don't have access to the online system that in depth, because it has account owners' private information, would be if you call our 800 number, they'd be more than happy to walk you through that.
Okay, and then Lynn had asked just for some possible organizations or disability organizations in regard to those that can serve as account managers or holders. And I believe that, Alicia, you also responded to Lynn, but I wonder if you could go over that for others that are on the record or the webinar right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't have a list of organizations. We wouldn't want to publish a list without that permission, because then we would be giving away some account specific information on who has the accounts. But essentially it is really any organization that has been named as a power of attorney, a conservator or representative payee appointed by the Social Security Administration that was mentioned in that order of priority that Michelle had went through. I did put a link in the chat too, because I know it was a lot to memorize. So it does tell us exactly where to find that as well on our website.
There's another question that says, upon the death of the account owner, does the state release the money to a beneficiary?
Do you want me to take that, Michelle?
Yeah, go ahead, take that.
Okay. Yep. So after the account owner passes away, if there's a successor participant, which is a sibling of the account owner, we would transfer the funds to that successor account owner after all of the disability expenses from the account are paid, just because there are those funeral and burial expenses are the ones that can be paid after the death of the account owner, and then any other expenses that happen in their lifetime. If there is no successor on the account, we will pay the estate. If there is no estate, the beneficiaries can come forward. They will, if the account's under 50,000, have to fill out an affidavit of small estate to release the funds.
Thank you. So in regard to the plan disclosure book and its lengthiness, do you have a recommendation for a quicker read?
It is long. I 100% agree with you. You can get quick information on the website, and our brochures do summarize the plan, but no, I can't recommend a way to not read the plan disclosure booklet to be able to open an account. It does really have all that important information. Just like any other financial account we'd have to open. We do have to have those.
Sure. This is a family member that says we opened an ABLE account recently for our 16-year-old. Will something automatically happen when he turns 18 that we would need to act on to continue to help managing?
Yeah, Michelle, I'll just keep going. So jump in if you
Okay.
want to grab any.
Yep, this
Um,
way.
so yeah, we call it
You're
the
on a
age of
roll.
majority because we like to have fancy terms. So when this account owner gets close with to be turning 18, the plan will send out letters. And how that works is that the individual is going to have capacity once they turn 18, the account will go into they will be the ones managing it. However, they can't always choose to have someone else manage that account with them. Michelle kind of went over that. I believe it's like a slide or two before this, that someone who is over 18 and has the capacity can always grant someone else the authority to act on that account with them. I like to use the scenario. I have an 18-year-old son. My 18-year-old son is absolutely unable to manage financial accounts. I definitely know that. So he has me on his accounts, and it's just very similar to how that would work. If he does not have the capacity to manage his accounts, then it would just need to be filling out that level and that order of priority that's on the next slide Michelle had up.
Okay, back to an earlier question or a connection to an earlier question. Clarification on the fact that you stated it does not have to be a disability organization. It could be any entity appointed as financial agent, conservator, etc. I believe that's correct, but if you want to clarify.
Nope, you're correct. Yep, I see you put that in the chat.
Okay, and then there was a request to go back over. Could you review the fees again?
Review the Cs.
The fees.
Oh, the fees. Let's see.
Perfect.
So there is a $2 a month fee for the checking account option, but there is no fee that is waived if the balance is the 250 or more, or if you sign up with paperless statements. And then for investment options, that has a range of 30 to 33% basis points. And then the quarterly one for the maintenance fee is $14.50. However, it's discounted if you sign up for e-delivery at $8.25.
All right, thank you, Michelle. I believe we have addressed all the questions in chat. If there are others out there, feel free, or if I missed any, feel free to throw it in the chat again.
And I don't see any additional questions at the moment here.
I would like to clarify for those who maybe hopped on a little late, we are able to send out the recording, but not able to send out the PowerPoint. So just so you know, that recording will be coming, and we will also include in that email with the follow-up of the recording, we can also send a link to the brochure in that.
Yes. Well, thank you again to Michelle for presenting this important information today and for attending the session. Before you leave today, we would love to remind you to complete the survey. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat. We would also like to encourage you to check out our events tab on the Ask website for any future training opportunities. Next month, our webinar series will be focused on early access services, and you can register for future webinars by visiting our website. Don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook for tips and other information. Have a great day, and thanks again for everyone joining us today, particularly Michelle and Alicia from the State Treasurer's Office. Very helpful information.
Thank you.
Thank you.